Thanks for all you do and keeping us informed.
You sound a little taller on radio.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Sorry, clunky start. We're running.
Americans play to win all the time.
I don't believe in the no-win scenario.
This is the Greg Belfrage.
Good morning, my friend. The marketplace of ideas is open. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. Thursday, March 6th. It is terrific to have you along. So President Trump yesterday saying on True Social, he said, Shalom Hamas means hello and goodbye. And he says, you can choose, release all of the hostages now, not later, and immediately return all of the dead bodies of the people you murdered, or it is, capital letters, over for you. Only sick and twisted people keep bodies, and you are sick and twisted. I am sending Israel everything it needs to finish the job. Not a single Hamas member will be safe if you don't do as I say. I've just met with your former hostages whose lives you have destroyed. This is your last warning. For the leadership, now is the time to leave Gaza while you still have a chance. Also to the people of Gaza, a beautiful future awaits. But not if you hold hostages. If you do, you are dead. Capital letters. Make a smart, capital letters, make a smart decision. And then all in caps. Release the hostages now, or there will be hell to pay later. So the president taking a very hard line here with Hamas and holding these hostages. And, you know, I've suspected that they were going to trickle out hostages. They would keep this thing going for as long as they, you know, this is what they've done. This is what they've done since I was a kid. When they were taking American hostages and Ronald Reagan, it took a change of president and Ronald Reagan and the threats coming from Reagan to bring the hostages back. And you got the same thing going on right here. So the president on in this post on True Social then yesterday, calling that for them to release all of the hostages immediately. And it's pretty incredible. So Senator John Fetterman, who has been a big supporter of Israel, said on X, free all the hostages or start killing Hamas members again. I fully agree with the president, he says. This was in reaction to the president's post. So this came hours after the White House was challenged by Peter Doocy on its decision to negotiate with Hamas. You know, the U.S. has had a longstanding policy. We do not negotiate with terrorists. And so Doocy asked, if the U.S. has this longstanding policy, then why is the U.S. now negotiating directly and for the first time ever with Hamas? So Carolyn Levitt said, well, when it comes to the negotiations that you're referring to, first of all, the special envoy who's engaged in these negotiations does have the authority to talk to anyone. She said, I think that's an avoidance of the question by Doocy, to be honest with you. That is avoidance. You know, that's the same kind of non-answer that we heard from Karine Jean-Pierre when she was at the Ministry of Truth. Levitt said that Israel was consulted on the matter and that Trump believes in putting forth good faith efforts to do what's right for the American people. I have no doubt about that, about where the president is at. But if it took Peter Doocy's question to light the fire under the administration to be very, very clear and as to where they stand, and I think the president was pretty clear. I mean, generally when the president speaks, it removes all doubt as to where he is standing on these issues. So Hamas then, through a spokesman, saying the best path to free the remaining Israeli hostages is, of course, what? Through negotiations. Yeah, we got to have more negotiations. This was supposed to apparently there was additional negotiations. This was part of the peace plan. Negotiations that were supposed to begin in early February, and they said only limited talks have been held so far. So the president made very clear in his post on Truth Social, Hamas is believed to still have 24 living hostages that were taken on October 7th. And this has gone on for a year and a half. Why do you, Hamas is, unfortunately, is this an issue where it's going to require force, certainly the threat of force, to get them to release these additional hostages? A year and a half. How much time should it take? Forgive me, I'm stammering because I'm a little bit mystified that it's gone on as long as it has. So the spokesperson said of the president's comments, such positions are what give the war criminal Netanyahu the strength and ability to continue his crimes. But the president's made it very, very clear. He's going to give Israel whatever they need. Playtime is over. So he'll give Israel whatever it needs to move forward. So we've got to talk about that coming up this morning. We'll touch on that later in the program today. Also, let's go to the president's Truth Social account again this morning. He was, as we've talked about tariffs and especially a very stern reaction from Canada. I think a fearful reaction from Canada. And so the president said he had conversations with Justin Trudeau of Canada yesterday. And the president says on Truth Social, he said, I want to get these in order. I think this one. The president said, Justin Trudeau I think this is the first one. The president said, for anyone who's interested, I told Governor Justin Trudeau of Canada, that he largely caused the problems we have with him because of his weak border policies, which allowed tremendous amounts of fentanyl and illegal aliens to pour into the United States. These policies are responsible for the death of many people. Then he follows that up with this. And he says, Justin Trudeau of Canada called me to ask what could be done about tariffs. I told him that many people have died from fentanyl that have come through the borders of Canada and Mexico. And nothing has convinced me that it has stopped. He said it's gotten better. But I said, that's not good enough. So the call ended in a somewhat, and he put that in quotation marks, a somewhat friendly manner. He was unable to tell me when the Canadian election is taking place, which made me curious, like what's going on here. I then realized he's trying to use this issue to stay in power. Trump says, good luck, Justin. I think I did have them out of order. And then the president followed up. For anyone who is interested, I also told Governor Justin Trudeau that he largely caused these problems. So there are some stories on this morning. Let's go to the Associated Press. Justin Trudeau saying he's unwilling to lift Canada's retaliatory tariffs on the U.S. if the president leaves any U.S. tariffs on Canada. And so this was a Canadian government official in Canada who confirmed this to the Associated Press. The person needed to be anonymous because they weren't authorized to speak publicly on the matter, but I'm going to do it anyway. I always laugh at this. Well, yeah, I can't do it publicly. I'm not authorized to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway. You know, that is the mentality of like a 6-year-old. Just makes me shake my head. So also other Canadian officials are echoing the Prime Minister's position. Canadian finance minister said, we're not interested in meeting in the middle and having some reduced tariff. Canada wants the tariffs removed. And Doug Ford, who is the premier in Ontario, which is Canada's largest, most populated province, said zero tariffs or nothing. This attack was not started by our country. Depends on your perspective, I think. You're allowing illegals to come in to the United States. You're allowing fentanyl to come into the United States. Was it started by your country? It depends on your perspective. He said this was started by President. He's a hardliner, this Doug Ford. He's the man who said he would, with a smile on his face, he would be happy to cut off all of these things to the United States. So kind of tells you where he's at. And he said of the president, he decided to declare an economic war against our country and our province. We're going to hold strong. But again, who declared war on who? Who's been allowing illegals to come, people to come into the country illegally through Canada? Who had fentanyl to come into the United States through Canada? All of those things. Who allowed that? It wasn't folks in the United States doing that. Also, pretty neat story. We talked about DJ Daniel yesterday. He's this 13-year-old who was battling brain cancer, who was at the president's speech the other night when the president, that joint session of Congress met and the president spoke. DJ Daniel was there. Well, he was in the Oval Office yesterday. And it's pretty cool. So you remember the president pointing him out. He's 13 years old. And he said, he's always dreamed of being a police officer himself. In fact, he's been honored by police officers and previously. And he has dreamed of doing this, but he was diagnosed in 2018 with brain cancer, so on. So anyway, following this, the White House invited DJ Daniel to the Oval Office to meet with the president personally. And this is pretty cool. So they showed up, and in the Oval Office, and DJ Daniel says, this is a video that was shared on X. Daniel standing next to the president in the Oval Office and then says, there's one more thing I got for you, a big hug. And the president says, okay, good, that's very nice. And DJ's got, throws his arms around the president and gives him a hug. So the two of them meeting in the Oval Office, president then shakes Daniel's, his father's hand and asks how he's doing. And the president said, that was a big evening last night, right? That was a big evening, the president said. So this, the video of this went viral on social media yesterday. And also along with the video of his father holding him up, and he's got a customized now Secret Service badge. And as DJ Daniel was there, I saw a story at the New York Post. There's Tom Homan, who is there, and on his way, as they're going into the office, and Tom Homan is saying hello on his way out. So New York Post has got a story about this meeting and the boy's father, who was not too happy with Rachel Maddow. Yeah, I told you about that yesterday. Rachel Maddow really kind of undermining his son's moment. And so his father says she needs to shut her mouth if she has nothing nice to say. That were the case, you'd hear nothing from the left. They would go silent. They had nothing nice to say. You'd never hear from them again. So she said the president was disgusting for calling out DJ and talking about his cancer battle. And he said, this lady didn't even serve time in the military. I was on the USS Kitty Hawk. She does not need to put her bad energy on us, he says. So the hearts of America, this young boy has really just grabbed the hearts of Americans. Also, we'll talk about this coming up this morning. President expected to sign an executive order to eliminate the Department of Education. This could come as early as today, according to a report in the Wall Street Journal. So a draft of the order reportedly instructs Linda McMahon, who's the new education secretary, to take all necessary steps to facilitate the closure of the education department. Now we're talking about the Federal Department of Education. And the order says the experiment of controlling American education through federal programs and dollars and the unaccountable bureaucrats those programs and dollars support has failed our children, our teachers, and our families. This is pretty wild. We've got to talk about this coming up this morning. Also, the president granted auto imports a 1-month exemption from tariffs. So this has helped the stock market. Stock markets dipped sharply earlier this week as this took place. So they've announced a 1-month reprieve on now we're talking about auto imports. They asked for it, the auto companies did. And Carolyn Levitt says the president was happy to comply with that. That's a big story this morning. Also, you had the mayors of sanctuary cities appearing before the House Oversight Committee yesterday. You had mayors from 4 of America's major sanctuary cities testifying that the federal government that caused the immigration crisis. Then he had a Democratic representative, Melanie Stansbury of New Mexico, who went off. And Fox News called it a curse-laden tirade against the Trump administration about this absolute bullcrap, she was saying. She didn't put it as kindly as I am this morning. So this is a big story. She got angry, and I'll share that story in more detail coming up later this morning. It's a big one. The reaction here is just, again, pretty overwhelming. A couple of local stories I wanted to share. Kellerland TV has got a story about the tariffs and how they could impact South Dakota farmers. And they talked to the executive director of the South Dakota Pork Producers Council, Glenn Mueller. said we're concerned about the long-term impact of the tariffs and what they might have on our industry. Don't blame him at all. You've got the South Dakota Soybean Association saying the same thing. One of our largest partners in terms of ag trade is Mexico. So when we see that problem arise in those tariffs, it's going to have a negative effect on the whole farming community. So interesting. And I believe they're correct. It's also, and you're hearing Joe Bowman report on this morning, Sioux Falls City Council last night, or Tuesday night rather, signing off on a proposal from the mayor regarding that they made a decision then to build a $70,000 fence around property that the city owns near the Bishop Dudley Hospitality House, and the council voted for that unanimously. Dakota News Now has got a great story on that this morning. And again, Joe Bowman will have details on that story for you coming up shortly. And that's a look at the big stories this morning. Thanks for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show. This hour brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month. Currently, mostly clear and $25 at Kello.
Camp and Robbins, weekdays at 2. Kello, News Talk 1320, 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is sponsored by Tires, the Give You More Tire and Automotive Store.
Bring charm from the outdoors into your home with Renewal by Anderson. Picture and color.
Okay.
Beautiful view and light in the bedroom, kitchen, or living room from ABC Seamless of Sioux Falls.
Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Is there anyone here? Yes.
The Sioux Falls
Good
Housing
morning.
and Development Commission and their nonprofit partner, Affordable Housing Solutions, are empowering people, building futures. They connect you with safe, affordable housing programs, work with community partners to improve living situations, and develop housing options in our communities.
Your joints are your connection points, and when they hurt, they stop you from moving freely. That's why at Sanford Health, our board-certified orthopedics and sports medicine experts are ready to help you safely restore your movement and relieve your pain with same-day joint replacement surgery options. These minimally invasive surgeries come with less risk and allow you to have a comfortable recovery at home. You don't need a referral to get started. Schedule a consultation today at sanfordhealth.org.
If an emergency happened tomorrow, would you truly be prepared? Most Americans aren't. My Patriot Supply, America's most trusted name in emergency preparedness, is offering a special discount on their 3-month emergency food kit. Each kit provides over 2,000 calories daily for 9 days.
Excuse me.
These aren't typical survival rations. My Patriot Supply provides delicious meals and extras, including chicken, beef, real meat, fruits, and veggies. Being prepared is a state of mind. Take advantage of this special discount to secure your family's future now. Go to mypatriotsupply.com. If you order by 3 p.m., your order will ship within the same day, so you'll be prepared in no time. That's mypatriotsupply.com. mypatriotsupply.com.
Becoming mostly cloudy today, our high temperature 44 this afternoon. Northwest wind 5 to 10. Chance of light snow overnight tonight. Most of that snow will stay south toward the Nebraska border.
And in Sioux Falls at 6:30. Mostly clear and 25. Joe Bowman is in the Kello.com News Center coming up. A missing baby from Sioux Falls has been found alive and well. Joe will have details on that story and more for you coming up here in minutes. You're listening to the Greg Belfrage Show on Kello.
President Trump issuing a final warning to Hamas on Truth Social, saying release all the hostages now or it's over for you. New Jersey Congressman Jeff Van Drew on Fox.
We're dealing with the face of evil, that we have to be strong, and that they better release these hostages and these bodies immediately, or if not, there's going to be hell to pay.
Hamas brushing off the threat, saying it will only free the hostages in exchange for a lasting ceasefire in Gaza, a tariff exception.
President Trump granting U.S. automakers a month-long exemption from tariffs on imports from Mexico and Canada. The decision came after Trump spoke to the leaders of Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis. According to the White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, President Trump told them they should shift production to the U.S., where they will pay no tariff.
Fox's Ashley Strohmeyer, America's listening to Fox News.
KELO News Time, 6:31. I'm Joe Bowman in the KELO.com News Center. A missing baby from Sioux Falls has been found. After a 6-day search, authorities located 7-month-old Chosen Butler and 38-year-old Betty Cross in Detroit, Michigan yesterday. Cross was temporarily caring for the infant but refused to return him. She was arrested for first-degree kidnapping. Baby Butler is unharmed and now safe in protective custody. Several people are facing charges following a drug bust in Lincoln County. Lincoln County Sheriff's deputies went undercover after receiving complaints about illegal THC and magic mushroom products at the Plug Smoke and Bake. The business has 3 locations, 2 in Lincoln County and 1 in Vermilion. Authorities say that items bought from the Lincoln County stores tested positive for the illegal substances. No names of those arrested have been released at this time. The impact of homelessness is generating heated debate in Sioux Falls between those who say the city isn't doing enough and the city officials trying to give help to the people who need it. That debate boiled over during Tuesday night's Sioux Falls City Council meeting.
No one grows up aspiring to live in a homeless shelter.
That was just a small part of an hour-long debate over a proposal for the city to lease a troubled vacant lot near the Bishop Dudley House, with the provision of building a fence around it to prevent homeless people from congregating there. Here's City Councilor Rich McCurris.
I truly believe the best pathway forward is for non-law enforcement engagement with the population that's most vulnerable in our community. How does this fence relate to that? We have to do something about the congregation.
The council approved the lease and fencing proposal on a unanimous vote. In sports yesterday, the Minnesota Timberwolves are on a 3-game winning streak following a 125-110 win over the Charlotte Hornets, but the Twins suffered another spring training defeat, losing to the Baltimore Orioles 5-2. From the KELO.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. KELO News Talk 1320 107.9.
Becoming mostly cloudy and a high today at 44 in the Sioux Falls area. Northwest wind at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, cloudy skies. There's a chance of light snow. More snow to the south for Yankton, though. Lows in the mid-20s. And then for tomorrow, a fairly chance of snow in the morning. Otherwise, a high near 40 degrees. From the Storm Center at Kettleland TV, I'm meteorologist Brian Karstens.
You have the power of information, entertaining talk, news when it happens. KELO News Talk 1320 107.9.
The thing about streaming video is that it's grown to be 100% reliable. Almost. Just ask anyone who attempted to stream the Oscars on Hulu or the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul prize fight on Netflix. I'm Kim Commando for LinkedIn Jobs. Post a job for free right now and find qualified candidates quickly at linkedin.com/Kim. Video streaming disasters occur only with major events. That's when everyone wants to watch. During the prize fight, the picture constantly froze. During the Oscars, viewers were abruptly cut off. They missed the Best Picture award. So what's the problem? It's literally everything. Sometimes too many people are accessing too few streaming servers. Sometimes, like the Oscar stream, Hulu's computers just couldn't authenticate subscribers. You see, the internet was designed for point-to-point communication. It was never designed to broadcast to everyone. So just expect glitches when we're talking about major events. Sign up for my free newsletter at getkim.com. As a small business owner, you don't have the luxury of clocking out early. Your business is on your mind 24/7. So when you're hiring, you need a partner that grinds just as hard as you do. That hiring partner is LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn makes it easy to post your job for free, share it with your network, and get qualified candidates that you can manage all in one place. Their new feature can help you write job descriptions and then quickly get your job in front of the right people. Either post your job for free or pay to promote. Promoted jobs get 3 times more qualified applicants. At the end of the day, the most important thing to your small business is the quality of candidates. And with LinkedIn, you can be confident that you're getting the best. Find out why more than 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring today. Find your next great hire on LinkedIn.
Steve.
Post your job for free.
I love Steve's comments. Yeah.
That's LinkedIn.com.
Meghan Markle.
To post your job for free. Terms
Yeah.
and conditions apply.
The odds of me watching Meghan Markle's new show, not good.
Live Saturday mornings at 9. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is sponsored by Tires, with 2 locations to make sure you have the proper traction this winter. Are you a creative? Especially after my stroke, I realize my time is more valuable. I'll rely on you to screen phone calls and help me get the best out of our callers. Candidates need some digital skills. This is a 25-hour-a-week part-time position. Send your resume to kellojobs@mwcradio.com or mail it to KELO AM, 500 South Phillips Avenue, Sioux Falls, South Dakota 57104. Midwest Communications is an equal opportunity employer by choice.
Miller High Life presents the Sioux Empire Sportsman Show, March 13th through the 16th at the Sioux Falls Arena and Convention Center. Visit hunting and fishing resorts from the Midwest to Canada. Plan your vacation right at the show. See fishing boats, docks, RVs, campers, fishing gear, and the latest in fishing electronics, along with fishing seminars and the wildlife.
You're a better man than I am, Steve. Watching that.
At the Sioux Falls Arena and Convention Center. Show information at SiouxFallsSportsShow.com. A Sudenko production.
Interior technicians, the duct cleaning specialists.
Got a whole house full of dirty ducts.
Oh, really?
I can't have guests over anymore. Even the neighbors are starting to complain.
I see.
I clean the ducts myself, but I'm afraid of upsetting them.
Upsetting them? I don't
An
understand.
angry duck is a noisy duck, if you get my drift.
No. See, interior technicians doesn't clean ducts. We clean ducts.
Are you making fun of me?
No. We do ventilation ducts. See, Intech cleans all kinds of residential, commercial, heating and cooling systems. We're the air duct specialists.
Air ducts, mallard ducks, they all get ugly when they're mad.
You'd be shocked how much dust and other stuff we'll find in your furnace ducts. I'm Jerry Berg, the owner of Intech Cleaning and Restoration. When you want your furnace ducts really clean, call the Intech team. Call Intech Cleaning and Restoration, 334-9716.
So is your cleaning method thorough?
Yes, ma'am. The Intech method cleans out the entire duct system.
That won't be necessary with my ducks.
Oh?
I've got them on a high fiber diet.
More happens in South Dakota every day than we can fit on one radio station, even Kello. That's why there's Kello.com.
With local stories, podcasts, and other exclusive content.
For more of South Dakota, go to Kello.com. Kello.
.638, mostly clear in 25 this morning. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
What's trending now?
Add them on Facebook.
Let the tweeting begin. The hashtag does that. News and views from Belfrage.
Top trending story this morning is the president issuing an ultimatum to Hamas over the hostages that they are still holding 17 months after that October 7th attack in Israel. And the president said, only sick and twisted people keep bodies, and you are sick and twisted. So he posted the entire thing on Truth Social. Release all the hostages now, not later, and immediately return all of the dead bodies of the people you murdered, or it is over for you, he says. He said, I'm sending Israel everything it needs to finish the job. Not a single Hamas member will be safe if you don't do as I say. He said, this is your last warning for the leadership. Now is the time to leave Gaza while you still have a chance. Also, to the people of Gaza, a beautiful future awaits, but not if you hold hostages. If you do, you are dead. Make a smart decision. President saying on Truth Social. So he posted this yesterday, and then you're getting Hamas responding to this, and So Israel has also ramped up pressure, and not just with threats, they are stopping the flow of goods and supplies into Gaza. So Israel's new military chief said Hamas has indeed suffered a severe blow, but has not yet been defeated. The mission is not yet accomplished. And yesterday, France, Britain, and Germany called the humanitarian situation in Gaza catastrophic, urged Israel to ensure the unhindered delivery of aid. Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. Allow that to continue to go on and on and on and on like it has been. You know, when it comes to peace, I don't look to voices in Europe to, unfortunately, Ronald Reagan told us, you know, peace is achieved through strength. Peace is achieved through strength. And that has been demonstrated over and over again. You know, some people just refuse to acknowledge that. Also, and some of these stories are a bit dated. The U.S. has paused its intelligence sharing with Ukraine. That story is trending. Well, that has since resumed. They had paused intelligence sharing with Ukraine. And the deal was, the understanding was Ukraine needs to sign that minerals deal. And you think you're going to get all of this support from the United States, and you know, and you're not cooperating. You've got your leader behaving the way that he did last week in the Oval Office. Guess again, not going to happen. So as part of this, the United States had paused its intelligence sharing, and Mike Waltz said of this of yesterday, and then now this comes after the president paused military aid to Ukraine, another sign of how he is, you know, reacting to Ukraine. And Mike Waltz said, we've taken a step back and are pausing and reviewing all aspects of this relationship. Also, Vice President J.D. Vance heading to the southern border yesterday, touring the border in Eagle Pass, Texas, and joined by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and Tulsi Gabbard, the Director of National Intelligence. Eagle Pass, as you know, has been one of the hot spots then for border crossings during the Biden administration. Also, the Supreme Court yesterday backed the federal judge's power to order the Trump administration to pay $2 billion to USAID. So the High Court, the U.S. Supreme Court, voted 5-4. They rejected an emergency application filed by the Justice Department. And this is not being received well by folks in the Trump administration, and is an indication of the work that America needs to do in our country's courts. The people who are managing our country's courts, you may have heard more of that yesterday on Clay and Buck. They were talking to, forgive me, his name just slips my mind at the moment. And he's part of the Trump administration. And he's a friend of Clay and Buck's. So he's been on their program, I wouldn't say frequently, but often. Also, House Speaker Mike Johnson saying he's planning an expedition vote of censure for Representative Al Green, calling on Democrats to join Republicans in punishing Al Green for heckling the president on Tuesday during his joint address to Congress. Johnson said any Democrat who is concerned about regaining the trust and respect of the American people should join House Republicans in this effort. So they are planning a vote this morning. And he said Representative Al Green's shameful and egregious behavior during the president's address disgraced the institution of Congress and the constituency serves. Meanwhile, Green is saying he wouldn't change a thing. Also, the terrorist that is accused of the Abbey bombing in 2021 that killed 13 U.S. military members and 160 civilians. This was during the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. That terrorist now landed on American soil yesterday. He was extradited Tuesday night. According to Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, he is charged with providing and conspiring to provide material support and resources to a foreign terrorist organization, resulting in death. Also, at a number of the sanctuary city mayors defending their policies in front of the House Oversight Judiciary Committee yesterday. They held a hearing with mayors from 4 major U.S. cities about their sanctuary policies. And Chairman Jim Comer said the pro-illegal alien mayors of Boston, Chicago, Denver, and New York City have implemented reckless, illegal policies that shield criminal aliens from federal immigration enforcement and endanger public safety. Criminal alien predators should not be free to roam our communities. And it got pretty heated at times. And also, Colorado, this is Denver, Colorado Mayor Mike Johnston was called before the Congressional Committee to answer for Denver's status as a sanctuary city. And it got fairly heated. Also, Honda is made the decision to produce their next generation Civic hybrids in Indiana, doing that instead of Mexico. So the Trump tariffs are having an effect where Honda now relocating production plans from Mexico to the United States. And the reason? Donald Trump's tariffs. As we're talking about tariffs, you had U.S. stock futures that plummeted this week. And the stories that are trending at Free Spoke are a little bit dated because stocks plummeted for a couple of days in a row. Those of you who follow the markets know that the Dow had fallen by about 700 points almost. So as of this morning, U.S. stock futures sank this morning, pulling back from the previous day's rally. So investors weighing how far is the president willing to negotiate on the issue of tariffs. So stocks were retreating after a volatile day of trading ended in a rally driven by the president's 1-month pause on tariffs targeting automakers. Also, as we're talking about tariffs, President Trump enacting tariffs against China, and China now saying they are ready for any type of war against the United States. China's foreign ministry spokesperson said if war is what the U.S. wants, be it a tariff war, a trade war, or any other type of war, we're ready to fight till the end. And so He warned that intimidation and bullying from the U.S. would not work. China upping their tariff on American agricultural goods to 15%. And again, you've got folks, locally, those involved in agriculture expressing their concern about what this may do. Also, you had Greenland's prime minister yesterday saying that Greenland is ours, cannot be taken or bought. And this is, reacting to President Trump, who said that his administration supported Greenland's right of self-determination, but said that the U.S. will acquire that territory one way or another. So the Prime Minister of Greenland said their citizens are not American nor Danish. They are Greenlandic. And the U.S. needs to understand that, he wrote in a post on Facebook yesterday. Also, Jimmy Johnson is known by many. Jimmy Johnson, took the Dallas Cowboys when he was coach to 2 Super Bowls. He coached at Miami. He's got a long history with coaching jobs in the NFL, and then as a broadcaster, as a sports broadcaster. And so Jimmy Johnson is retiring from Fox Sports after 31 years. I can't help but, look at his career with a lot of respect and admiration, because, to do what he's been able to do as a coach during his time when he was coaching in the NFL, then to turn that around in 31 years as a broadcaster with Fox Sports, that is an incredible career to me. Absolutely incredible career. So we'll wish Jimmy Johnson the best of luck. Also, LeBron James. This is just crazy. LeBron James becomes the first player in NBA history to surpass 50,000 combined points in the regular season and the playoffs. This guy is this is NBA history. Absolutely incredible. Also trending, NBC has confirmed that Tom Lamas will replace Lester Holt as the anchor of the NBC Nightly News. For those of you still tuning in to NBC Nightly News. Also, Andrew and Tristan Tate fighting a series of legal battles in Romania, as well as the UK and the United States. They arrived in Florida recently, and now Florida has launched a criminal investigation into the Tate brothers. You had a just incredible approval of the president's speech before the joint session of Congress this week. CBS News survey found that 76% approved of the president's comments and what he was saying. Also trending this morning, Sylvester Turner, who was the former mayor of Houston, has died. He was 70 years old. And the mayor of Houston said, a remarkable public servant who impacted millions of people. He rose from poverty, but never forgot where he came from. It's a terrible loss for the city and a personal loss for me, said the mayor of Houston. So Sylvester Turner, dead at the age of 70 years old. Also, this is weather-related story from Texas that is trending this morning. And they're saying it was another worldly scene unfolding across parts of Texas on Tuesday. They had a dust storm that swept across the state, blocking out the sun, making it so dark that drivers needed to use headlights in the middle of the afternoon. Also, Pope Francis has been resting. Slept through the night with a ventilation mask. He has been battling pneumonia and has suffered some respiratory failures. Also, still trending this morning was the Democrat response to the president's address the other night that was given by Alyssa Slotkin. She's a former CIA analyst, former congresswoman, and she gave the Democrat response to the president's address. Stories regarding that are still trending this morning. Also, Israel and the United States have rejected an Egyptian plan for Gaza's reconstruction. Hamas loved the plan, so it makes sense that the United States and Israel are both opposed to it. And that's a look at the stories trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery. 6:57, mostly clear in 25. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show, brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month. Well, thanks for being here, my friends. I appreciate it. Hope you'll come back at 9:30 for the 4th hour. I'll see you then. Have a great Thursday.
KELOLAND Plus is now available on Roku.